Hey everybody, McDuosGirl here. And the other day I was doing some searches on YouTube for a base game Victorian mansion, and nothing came up. Because I was trying to get some ideas from what other people did, and I had said in an earlier video that I wanted to kind of step away from doing modern builds for a while and start doing some other stuff. And one of the things I wanted to do was a Victorian house. And I am on this kick of using only base game items and using only just using no game packs in any of my builds, because I just want something out there for people who don't have any of the game packs to use. And because I was in that situation for a long time, and I just found it really interesting that there was no Victorian mansions, at least that I could find. I didn't go past like page 2 or anything, but who does really? But I didn't see any that I saw specifically that were base game Victorian mansions. So I started on this little project here, and I'm not really going to say it's a little project. I shouldn't say that. It's a huge project. I've been working on this for 3 days. At the time of uploading this, I am still not done with it. I'm much farther in to getting this done now than what you're going to see, but it's going to be probably at least a 2-part build, and I did have to speed just this part up here to 10 times, so it's going to be a little bit fast. So if that bothers anybody, let me know. I can split it up into shorter parts, just more of them, where it's slowed down a little bit. But in this part, you're going to see basically just the outside of the build. I just started doing the interior today because I'm being very, very meticulous with this build, and it does take me quite a long time to do larger builds like this, especially things that I'm not accustomed to, like Victorian houses. I can spit out a modern mansion in probably half the time that it took me to do this, but I really am really enjoying doing this build. It is probably my favorite out of every build I've ever done ever. This is definitely my favorite. I've put a lot of time and a lot of heart into doing this, and it's base game, which I'm really proud of. I didn't use anything from any of the game add-ons, just what came with the game when it first came out. So I thought that was really cool. And so like I said, you're just going to see me doing the outside of the house. You're going to see me doing a lot of landscaping. I just went insane doing the landscaping of this place. So you're going to hear me clear my voice a couple times. I'm not feeling very well the past couple days, so I'm sorry if it took me a little bit longer than I expected to get this out. I was hoping to upload this last night so I could get it out to you guys this morning, but I just really wasn't feeling that well last night. So you're going to be getting it a little bit 1 day later than I said, so I guess that's not too bad. And I'm going to try and get the rest of it out over the weekend so you guys can see it. I don't want to keep you waiting for too long. I do change up the outside of the house a little bit, and you're going to see that when I post part 2 to this, because I got the whole thing done and I was really happy with it. And when I went in to take the screenshots, and it was really annoying because it took me forever to try and get the roof done the way that I wanted it. And when I went in to take the screenshots, as I kind of went down and looked up at the house from like a lower angle, the roof was just way too short, and it was so annoying looking at it after all the effort that I put into it. So you're gonna see in the thumbnail that I'm gonna put in the beginning of this video, it does look really nice. The roof is not high enough, and that is something that I do resolve, and you're gonna see that in part 2. And after what you're gonna see me doing here, I do put in even more landscaping and more things on the outside of the house. I figured out how in base game to make it look like there's vines growing up the side of the house. So I thought that was really cool, and very tedious. So it was very, very tedious using move objects to try and get it was what I used was those flower boxes that you put on the outside of windows. And I just, since the house is so incredibly massive, they don't really look all that big on the outside of it. So it just, if you set them the right way, it looks like vines going up the side of the house. So I was really happy with that, because when I was doing the gardener's cottage, I was remarking about how in the base game they didn't have the little vines that you could put on the outside of the house like they do in the game add-ons. But I kind of figured a way around that, and I was pretty happy with how that turned out. So you're going to see that in part 2 of this. I'm going to post that probably the day after I post this one, so it's not going to be too much longer of a wait. I do have all the footage and everything already recorded. I just have to put it together and edit it and do my narration. So that and that doesn't generally take me too long. So I'll have that out to you guys fairly soon. And what you're seeing here is something I really hope they would have resolved by now. Is I have a roof there, and then there's I wanted like a widow's peak or like a balcony that went way up. With some seating up there, but the roof pokes through it. So I end up having to change that into a room, because really the only way to resolve that glitch, if you have a room with the roof poking into it, is to use the room tool. It has to be the room tool. It can't be just when you're making single walls. You have to use the building a full room tool to kind of move around over on top of where the roof is poking in, and then it will go away. But the room has to stay there. You can't just put it there and then the roof goes away and then you can just build whatever you want after that on there. It has to stay that room. So that top tower there wasn't originally going to be an actual room. I wanted that whole 3-story tower there to be all balconies or widow's peaks. But unfortunately it just didn't work out that way. I tried a couple things to sort of get around it, and I couldn't do it. So it ends up being a room. I actually, at this point of you listening to this, or at the point of uploading, I have not done that top room yet. So if once this is uploaded, if it's like 24 hours afterward, I probably won't have that room done yet. It's probably going to be the last thing I do on the house. So if you have any suggestions for something that you want to be in that top room, just let me know, and I can put something cool up there. I was thinking of maybe just like a bathroom. I know that sounds kind of weird, but putting like a clawfoot tub with like a big window or something up there I think would be kind of cool. But it also depends on how I'm going to finagle getting a staircase from the second floor up there, because the only part of the second floor that's underneath that top area there is just the balcony underneath it. So that might take a little screwing around with to try and get that to work. So we'll see how that turns out. But if you guys have any suggestions about what you want on that top floor of the balcony there, just let me know. Also, if you guys are noticing jingling sounds in the background noise when you're listening to this, it's actually my dogs walking around. I have 2 smaller dogs. Well, they're not really small. One of them's 50 pounds and one's 25 pounds, but they walk around behind me, and it's actually the tags on their collar. And it's really hard to get them to just kind of sit still when I'm doing the narration, because they like to run around and play, because they're both puppies. So if you guys are hearing that, I'm sorry, but that's what it is. So here I'm almost done with the roof, finally, the boring roof. I screwed around with this stupid roof for like so long. I hate doing roofing. You're gonna see on most of my videos I just don't have roofs on any of them. I just use like half walls to kind of line the top, and I'm like, all right, there's the roof, it's done. Because I don't like messing around with this, especially if you have diagonal pieces and round pieces and all these different weird areas on your houses, because doing the roofing sometimes can just be a nightmare. And it just took me, I think, like a quarter of the video, and this is sped up a lot, was just me doing the roof, and it was just so frustrating. I think I had to take a couple of breaks to just kind of compose myself and just be like, okay, I just got to get this roof done so I can start doing the fun stuff, because I really hate doing the roofing. It is so tedious. But I think some of the air trim for the side of the house and underneath the roof, like the roof trim, and then the trim around all the different floors of the house, with the fencing, the columns, and then the lattice work that's between the columns, just makes this house, like, if they didn't have that in this game, this just wouldn't be a Victorian house. And I actually used it. You're going to see me placing these little items. I can't remember what they're called. It was something weird. I had never even heard of them before. Like, I've seen them on houses. I just never knew what they were called. But I actually found this, and I had never found this item before, and I just put them under a couple of the roof pieces. Like they look a little bit weird in the, like the top corners because I don't think that's what they're for. But I just thought they looked really cool and added a little bit of character to the house and made it look, I guess, a little more quote unquote Victorian with the items that I had for base game. So I was definitely really happy that I found those. So here I was looking for some kind of window to put right in the middle of that roof piece there, and both of the roof pieces on the front and the back of the house where I wanted to feature a window that was just right in the middle of it were one, I guess, tile too wide. So all the windows that are kind of made to be put there that you can actually place in like the that area of a roof would only go on the sides of it. So I just found the coolest looking windows I could find, and I just set them next to each other. That kind of disappointed me a little bit. I don't know if I cut it out or not, but you might see me going back and trying to just find like an item in just any item that would look okay to feature on the top of that house. But unfortunately I couldn't find anything. So I just kept those windows up there. I really just wanted one, but unfortunately it didn't happen that way, and I didn't want to have to go back and resize everything on the entire house and screw around the roof again. So I just left it, but in the end it ends up looking great anyway, so I was happy with it regardless. And here I'm actually putting this bay window there specifically because that's where I end up putting the kitchen, and the sink is right behind that bay window. And I thought that maybe if the sink was in front of it, since the window kind of recesses out a little bit and there's like a little shelf piece there, I could put like some clutter up there, like some plants and some like hand soap and stuff there. And I did that whole area with that bay window rather than a door to go out on the balcony just for that reason alone. And you can't put anything in the bay window. And I end up finding that out later when I actually start doing the kitchen on the inside, and I was so upset. And you'll see that I just put that kind of light pinkish kind of beige color on the outside of the house, and I was originally going to make this house red. I wanted this house to be dark, kind of navyish blue with some white features on it, and I wanted it to be dark red. And then when I started going through the wood paneling and the paint and stuff like that for the outside of the house, I didn't like the way the red looked. I think I'd need a Victorian house that was really, really old looking, like an older Victorian house. This one looks like it's fairly recent. I think if I did an older style house, or maybe a more of a gothic type looking house, like I think the dark red would look better, or maybe a very dark brown, because I originally had made this house to be very dark, but I ended up going with the light color, and in turn the entire house on the inside, the way I end up furnishing it, ends up being lighter in color than I wanted it to be. But I think in the end it turned out really nice. I was actually very surprised with how much I had to kind of change what I had originally wanted to do quite a lot. I kind of had this whole plan set out of exactly what I wanted everything to look like, and I'm very familiar with build mode. I mean, I'm not like a professional or a guru or anything like that, but I was familiar enough with it that I thought I could do it. And I ended up having to make all these changes, but in the end I think I almost like how it came out better than what I had originally planned. And I'm starting on the landscaping finally. This was so much fun, just landscaping the outside of this house. And I kind of wanted it on the outside to look like organized chaos, sort of. So there's parts of it that look very, very organized, like your Sims had professional landscapers come in and do all this stuff. But then there's other parts where there's just vines growing all over everything and just plants everywhere, just like a mishmash of everything. But it ends up looking very, very lush and beautiful. And I was really happy with the way the landscaping turned out. And normally I don't like doing a ton of landscaping. It's not my favorite, but that could be because I do a lot of modern type builds, and I think kind of more of a minimalist approach as far as landscaping goes on the outside of modern houses looks a little bit better than doing this very lush landscaping. But on this house, it ended up just looking gorgeous, and I was so happy with it. And it ended up being so much fun. I have never had more fun landscaping a house in The Sims than on this one. I actually was working on this a couple days ago for hours. And when I finally started doing the landscaping, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do the landscaping really fast. I need to take a break from this because I was starting to get kind of tired and a little bit frustrated. And then I started doing the landscaping, and I ended up having so much fun doing the landscaping that I just went overboard and spent forever doing it. And then when I started it back up the next day, I did even more landscaping. So in part 2, you're going to see a little bit more. I mean, it's not like a ton. It's not going to be like half the video is all landscaping, but I do put in quite a bit more. And like I said, I put vines up the side of the house because I started looking at pictures of like old Victorian houses and stuff on Google, and I was like, oh, I need more. I need all of the vines. So yeah, anyway, I just had a lot of fun doing the landscaping. I'm not going to like go on about this forever, but it was just awesome. It was my best experience landscaping a house in The Sims. And here I started putting like some little trees and stuff in, and I was like, that looks too neat. And so I ended up, here I live in an area where there's like a lot of these really huge houses on one specific street in my town, and they're all older. They're from like the late 1800s and early 1900s, so they're a little bit Victorian, and they all have these huge rhododendron bushes on the outside of their house. So I kind of used the scaling tool to make the like a regular bush look a lot bigger, and then I scaled up that other bush that has those purple flowers on it and put them inside of it to try and make it look like this giant rhododendron bush on the outside of the house. And I was really proud of that because it just looks like something totally different. It looks like I downloaded like some custom content plant and put it on the outside of the house, and I didn't. So I thought that was really cool. And but what I was saying before is I started putting those little trees there, and I was like, oh, that looks too nice. It looks too neat. I better like make this like a little bit messier looking. So I just started just placing just random plants everywhere and making them huge and making some of them small. And I wasn't even really paying attention to what plant I was using. I was just looking at the colors and trying to switch the colors up a little bit and switch the sizes up a little bit. And in the end, it really is organized chaos. Like, it looks like it was meant to be exactly the way it looks. But in all honesty, it was just me just picking random flowers and just sticking them around until it looked nice. And it was just so much fun because I thought, I was going to have to put all this thought into like what flowers go where and what shapes do I want to make with all the landscaping. And it really wasn't all that hard. It was just putting flowers in places. So that was really cool. So this part's just about done, so I'm going to leave it here. This house, as of the upload of this video, is not up for download yet because, like I said before, it is not finished yet. But it will be, and I'll let you know when it is. If you do want to find me on the Sims 4 gallery, my origin ID is Cyberbot99. But if you go to the search page under hashtags and type in hashtag McDuosGirl, my builds do end up there. So if you from the time of this upload, if you give it like a day or two, it'll be up and ready for download. And like I said before, this is all base game, so if you want to download this and you don't have any game packs, it's all right there for you. So if you have any comments or suggestions, right there you're gonna see I lost a little piece of footage. I forgot to mention that earlier when I built this little gazebo. I did lose a piece of footage. I can't find it anywhere, so I'm sorry about that, guys. But like I was saying, if you guys want to leave any comments or suggestions, just leave it down below. My Facebook and my Twitter are both linked if you want to check those out or follow. I do post some little preview pictures sometimes on my Twitter of things I have not shown you guys yet on YouTube, so that's definitely worth checking out. And please subscribe if you guys want to watch more of my speed builds. I am working on a couple of playlists right now, and I'm going to be uploading at least 2 a week, probably 3 or 4 most of the time. And anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you later.